Alright, what is up? So, I'm JP. I'm the SEO specialist and web developer here at J. Williams Designs in SF. I enjoy researching sales processes, buyer psychology, and turning online roadblocks into revenue. This is the Digital Growth Stage channel where I break down and air out the tough stuff that's actually stopping your brand from scaling online. Not a ton of fluff, just actionable steps to get you moving faster. So, let's dig in. Today's topic is going to be WordPress plugins. Now, plugins can make or break the speed of your site. So today, we're going to install only what's essential so that your site stays fast and stable. So one of the biggest things that I want to go over is the mindset around adding new software to your WordPress environment, i.e. adding more plugins. The quick rule is minimal installs equals less bloat. Meaning the more plugins that you have, the more that's needed to keep up with, the more internal errors that can happen or occur because of two softwares with conflicting information or conflicting data. Ideally, the less amount of plugins there are on your website, the better. One of the things that I do when I build any website for any of my clients, I have a list of the top things I want done on the back end, and I have 4 or 5 plugins that really help to knock those out of the park in a way that doesn't bloat the site. So I'm going to go over how to add a plugin, how to manage plugins, and the top plugins that I use on every website that I build. Let's dive in. The initial must-haves, if you're building with me, is going to be Elementor and Elementor Pro. Now you can see both of those are already active and downloaded inside of this environment. To do so, you would go to the top left-hand corner of this page under the Plugins tab for Add Plugin. From here, you'd have a search bar on the right-hand side where you can search for plugins that you're looking for. One of the awesome ones that I use is called Sitekit. Now you don't necessarily have to hit enter. Once you type these in, it will automatically search for the plugin you're looking for. Now to install this plugin, you would just click Install Now. And if you want to learn more about this plugin before installing, you can go ahead and click into it from the title. You can learn more about the description, the installation, any frequently asked questions, the changelog, and reviews from other people online. However, if we just want to install it, we're going to go ahead and hit the Install Now button in the bottom right-hand corner of this pop-up. So once it's installed, that doesn't necessarily mean that that plugin is activated. We're going to want to activate the plugin either at the same page as where you installed it, or you can always go back to your plugins area and see that there is an unactivated plugin and activate it from here. Now, once you activate a plugin, that turns it on for the first time initially, and most plugins will have some sort of setup wizard, just like Google Sitekit does. And what this means is that after you activate a plugin, you should see some pop-ups that help guide you through how to set it up on your WordPress website automatically. If that isn't happening, then you may want to find a different plugin that has more support, or at least the support that you're looking for. From here, you can easily maneuver into that plugin for onboarding, and if you'd also like, you should be able to find these plugins as new tiles inside of the left-hand navigation panel. You can see that Sitekit has now been added to the left-hand navigation once that plugin has been activated. Let's do another one. So one of the other top SEO plugins that I use is called Rank Math. I'm going to go ahead and install this and activate it, and we'll see the same workflow that happened with Sitekit also show up for Rank Math. So Rank Math is going to have its own sub-label inside of the navigation once we activate it. So let's go ahead and do that. Now that it's active, and there it is right on the left-hand side. Rank Math is now active. We aren't allowed to change the hierarchy of how these sub-labels show up inside of the navigation, but it is really helpful that these plugins automatically show up in this left-hand panel. That way we can navigate to them easily. The next thing is updating these plugins. So once you have a third-party software integrated with your WordPress website, it is on you to keep these plugins updated and working seamlessly in your environment. It's really easy to update these plugins, and WordPress has pretty much made it incredibly simple to do so. It's a single click. Once you get into the plugins page, you can scroll down, see any of the plugins that have a heads up or some sort of update now availability for a button under them. Any of the ones that don't have buttons or are fully blue background are still fully up to date. We're just going to go ahead and click Update Now, and immediately that runs its updater. And within a few moments, this plugin is going to be fully updated and automatically saved into the WordPress system. You'll get a green check mark once it's done, and the background of this plugin specifically will turn back to blue. Now, once this happens, you know that all of your updates on the WordPress environment are fully up to date. Now, this doesn't include the core WordPress website updates, but this does fully flesh out and make sure that you're configured for all of the plugins that you have on your site. Cool. So one of the other things that you should do is regularly remove plugins that aren't active on your website. What this does is it removes bloat or any unused data or code on your site that otherwise would have had to load in with the rest of your website. Keeping our data as clean as possible and keeping the plugins as light as possible actually has direct has a one-to-one relationship with sometimes how fast the website even loads. Now, if we really want to get into the nitty-gritty on how to get the plugins that you need for fast loading on SEO, go ahead and reach out on my website at jwilliamsdesigns.com/contact, and we can go over maybe a 15 to 20 minute meeting with a audit of your website and maybe some answers to the questions that you're looking for. Cool. So the top plugins that I use on every single web design that I build are as follows. So let's go ahead and show a live one. These folks won't mind that I'm showing off their website. This is Breath Maharlika, a somatic breathwork practitioner here in the Bay Area. So they have Elementor and Elementor Pro, which are our key plugins for drag and drop editing with WordPress. There's an Element Kit Lite, which added a few special widgets to this platform. And then the other key ones that I have on every website is Rank Math Pro, WP Activity Log, and the last one that isn't on this environment is going to be WP Rocket. For everyone out there that is interested in page load speed, WP Rocket would be the quickest way to configure your website so that a lot of the back-end settings that you need dialed in for Google are done so automatically. Cool. This isn't like every plugin out there, but it's exactly what you need to power through a full build without things breaking or going off the rails. That pretty much sets up the foundations for this topic. You can always go deeper on any of this, but what we covered here will get you exactly to where you're trying to go with faster control, quicker redesigns, and real digital growth without the headaches. If this is clicking for you and you want to level up even further, go ahead and hit subscribe, drop a comment with what challenge this helped you through, or book a discovery call with me and my team, and we'll get you a full audit of your website and possibly help you win on Google. The link's in the description. Thank you for watching. That's all I have to report here in the city, and I'll talk to you soon.